Morning, y'all. I'm back. It took a while, I'm not gonna lie. After the hypocalcemia stuff and the hospital stays, I needed to ease back into this. So bear with me while I get this set up. And then we're gonna get to this Fitbang because unlike the Heffa, I don't like shoveling food in my face for views. But I will sweat up a bunch for you guys to show you how fat girl fitness works. And as you can see, the gut is starting to shrink a bit, y'all, because I keep at it. Let me tip that just a little bit. Nope. It's been a while since I had to set up this camera phone like that. Don't mind the totes. They're full of family pictures. Okay. Yep, I think that's the great angle. Woo. Let's get my music going. I was watching Cat Snaps and I heard the Heffa is rebranded yet again. Garlic Bread also did a really quick recap of it as well. And it's really sad. It's really sad that she has to keep playing these games with her personality and her issues. But I'll get to talking soon. I want to get my music going first. I have my little bounce playlist that helps me get through this. Whew. Arm weights. Start down, pump up. So first off, I want to thank every one of you who have subbed. I know some people have their snarky comments about how I got my following, and you can thank Chantel for it. I know she wants to take credit anyway. It was her nasty commentary that prompted a lot of people who I've been in their chats for at least a good few months now to say, why would you attack somebody like that? But, you know, people are going to believe what they want to believe on these YouTube streets, so it is what it is. What I think is hilarious is that her negativity turned into such a big positive, and I want to apologize for the sound notifications. I have sound notifications for Twitch because a lot of times on Sunday, I'm on for like 5 hours playing the MMO D&D game with my friends, and if I don't have those notifications, I don't know when people are in the chat. And a lot of times people aren't in the chat on Sundays because I don't pay attention to the chat well. So I keep the notifications on Twitch for that reason. When switching, because I use OBS, to YouTube, didn't realize that the sound alerts could still go off even if I'm not on Twitch at the time. And they kept going off every time somebody followed. I thought I was being trolled at first. And I was starting to go from amused to annoyed, but I held it in because it was like, why is this going on? I even turned it down towards the end, but it was still coming in through my headphones. So I could hear it, but other people finally couldn't. And it was just frustrating. So I definitely want to apologize. I believe I have rectified the situation. I know I can completely disable sound alerts now when I go live on YouTube. So I will be doing that. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable, even though I'm an 80s kid. I grew up solidly in the 80s. I was born at the end of the 70s. So Voltron was a big part of my life. The theme song is also in my writer's playlist. We're about to do some amazing things in the second book. So I love hearing it, but I don't want to hear it as much as I did yesterday. And I seen in the comment section, I know you weren't being combative. Y'all just wanted to hear my thoughts on stuff without the constant interruption. And I appreciate the feedback. I am not one that shrinks away from constructive criticism. I think it's necessary to grow as a content creator and a person. So if you want to come at me and say, hey, sound quality's off. Hey, visual quality's off. Hey, Tim, I didn't particularly like what you had to say that day. Feel free. Unlike Chantel, Little Miss Rage Pig, unless you're using my links to try to completely bash somebody else, because we ain't doing that. you got to say something about any of the other creators that you really don't like in a nasty tone, take it to them directly. You are not going to use me as a sounding board for your hate for people. Some people did express dislike for other creators in a creative way without making it seem like they were attacking them. They just said, this person isn't for me. I'm fine with that. Person's not for you. I'm not going to change your mind. But when you come at me trying to attack people that I enjoy, or even people I don't know, because you have a beef with them, take it to them. I don't say anything about anybody I couldn't say to their face. And too many people tried that shit too. And believe me, I spent 2 hours this morning finally trying to get caught up with all the amazing comments in both the comments section and my videos, and I appreciate you all. And I just feel like there are way too many people. Y'all waste your time trying with this. Why do you want people to fight so badly when there is so much interesting content to watch, react to if you do that, and just do your thing? I won't get it, and I will never get it. But yeah, the main reason why I even wanted to do this today, besides showing actual fat girl fitness, was the fact that the Heffa said something in a live stream that she took down that a lot of people grabbed. I saw it on Hannibal's stream, I believe, last night again too, where she legit said that she was from the hood. The hood of Corinth? You just got finished ranting about how Corinth is full of too many white people, which I can't even begin to unpack the psychological stuff of not realizing, heifer, you're white. Ooh, I upped the tension on this bike too, so I'm not pedaling that fast, y'all, but it's okay. I'm almost at a 8. I put it to 7. Whew. But the fact that she says stuff like this, the fact that she thinks she can cosplay a whole nother people's culture and think it's cute, when every time I kept thinking when I seen her talk that all she has to do is take off that hijab and abaya and she'll go back to being a white woman. You can't just culturally misappropriate another person's culture. And I think it's disrespectful to your biggest cheerleader and to anybody, black, brown, or anybody who's ever really lived in the hood, for you to even say something like that. You love to run this poor girl, poor me, welfare girl lie. We've all said that if your mom was on welfare, the only way other kids would have known that is if your big mouth told them. There ain't nobody out there telling that kind of business if they know better. But you love pity. And ain't nobody got pity for you, hijab demon. Another thing that I noticed is that she, after trying to attack me with her hench clown, decided that she was going to adopt a new hood persona. Let me tell you, I'm not from the hood. I could be said to be maybe hood adjacent, because a lot of my friends actually came from the hood. I lived in a house for most of my life. When my mom moved us into federal housing, we only stayed there maybe 3 years before my grandmother was like, no, you're not having my grandbabies in that. And my mom decided to get us a house too, because that's not how I was raised. I'm not saying that shit to be bougie. I'm saying that Chantal has nerve. She has a lot of nerve trying to incorporate lives that she doesn't even know. She wouldn't last a fucking second in the hood. First of all, because she can't waddle out of danger. Second of all, because she can't take people looking, staring, and having comments about her. Bitch, when I would go visit my friends, especially in the projects, they were brutal. Especially when I got a Jerry fucking curl. And you know what? A lot of it's funnier now that I'm an adult. But back then, you had to take all of that shit in stride. You have a lot of nerve talking about being from the fucking hood of Corinth. But it's typical for a failed chameleon, a failed everything like her. And I know she'll go, what's up, honey?
Look just for a second. I'm going to go hang with mom and dad for a little bit and I'll be back.
Okay.
Frosties are in the fridge.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, honey. I love you.
Love you too.
Tell your parents to say hi. I'll see them when y'all get back.
Yep.
Whew. Sorry about that, y'all. But, what I was saying before this was, I just think it's funny how she thinks she can misappropriate other people's lives. I ain't never once in my entire life said, I'm from the hood. I don't disrespect the hood like that. because it really is life for a lot of people, even nowadays. Growing up in literal poverty, where you didn't even know if you were going to get a meal, where the summer youth program, which I used to work for as a camp counselor, was the only source of their breakfast and lunch. And some of them would pack up anything extra they could to bring home. That is the fucking real, Chantal. You can never. You would have been one of those kids that would have been fucking stealing from other kids' trays, I can tell. But you love to pretend everything in your life is a freaking fantasy. And I don't get why you would fantasize about a life like that, because you might have had it tough growing up in Corinth because of your own actions and attitude. But you would never know what it's like to be born into a lifestyle that you didn't ask for, that you have to survive in, and that a lot of kids from the hood don't. And it breaks my heart that people don't even look at those kids as human half the damn time. They treat them like they're just a lower class. They expect them to go from the school to prison pipeline, which is a very real thing here in America. So the fact that you can sit there and literally compare yourself to people who have actually lived and still survive in the hood, that rubbed me the wrong fucking way, Heffa. Whew. And when I'm angry, it makes me want to exercise harder. But now, getting back to the news of the day, I hear that a little birdie decided to claim back the Foodie Beauty title, only you can't because somebody else took it. So now you're Foodie the Beauty. It's always going to be superficial with you, huh, Heffa? It's always going to be trying to prove to the internet and the world that you're beautiful. But you know what? You need to learn from your little attack on my dental stuff, is that beauty isn't just what's outside. It's not that whole beauty is skin deep bullshit either. It's legitimately how you carry yourself, how you present yourself to this world. There have been plenty of people who on the outside didn't seem beautiful to people by their weird aesthetical sad standards, who legitimately are beautiful souls. You're neither of those things. You put on 50,000 fucking filters that stretch out everything in your background, all to, what, delude yourself? Because you ain't fooling the fuck out of us. All I know is that when I see the way you behave, it shows so much insecurity. You could never. I'm not afraid to show my battle scars. I'm not afraid to show the damage that I did to myself. I'm not afraid to look myself in the mirror and go, Tim, you passed on the pens. Nobody else put those on me. And I'm okay with my relationship with food now. I no longer binge eat. I no longer purge. I can enjoy a treat every once in a while. My man's heading out to get me one of those orange dreamsicle frosties from Wendy's because he knew. My eyes kind of lighted up when I seen the commercial the other day. And then I heard in Yaba in this chat that it was for real. So I was like, oh, I used to love the Flintstone Push Pops as a kid. And when I lived in Florida, Rallies or Checkers, I think they were Checkers down there, had an orange dreamsicle that was the bomb. So when I heard Wendy's was doing it in frosty mode, I was like, oh, I shouldn't. But I work hard. Since December, I have dropped 34 pounds. And I know a lot of that was from being in the hospital, but they had me walking. They had me doing, what's it called? PT, physical therapy. One of the things the physical therapist said, and sorry, y'all, I'm sweating, said to me was when he tested my leg and arm strength, when he walked with me, he was like, I know you're in here for hypocalcemia, but you're fit. And I told him, I exercise. I know that I still, being 5'3", carry a lot of weight. I packed on pandemic pounds. I became a shut-in after the fallout with my mother. I got depressed. And it wasn't even super overeating because I still can't do that with my stomach. It was just lazing around. I had no motivation. It wasn't until about 2022, maybe even 2021, the tail end, when Axiom Wolf decided to move into my place downstate, that we got an exercise bike that I was looking at. He seen I had it bookmarked, and I was going to buy it, and he surprised me with it. And it was just good. But the first time I got on it, I couldn't even do 10 minutes because I had gotten so out of shape after 2 years of literal sloth. And it was embarrassing to me. but I kept going. And I was taking pictures, and I was putting them up on X, Twitter, and I was showing people that I'm back at it. And then when I realized that I could start doing these Fitbangs on YouTube a couple of months back, I started doing that because, honestly, I still don't get the appeal of mukbangs. I still don't get the appeal of eating massive amounts of food for views. I would much rather look like a whole ass fool, sweating my ass off, talking to y'all, than to overgorge myself on unnecessary calories. And I'm not anti-food. I think people need to understand that with therapy, with support, you're supposed to develop a healthy, and a heavy relationship with yourself. And understand that food is there for you to enjoy in small portion, and you're supposed to eat to live, not live to eat. It really is good to come from somebody who is a super deaf fat to somebody who is still morally obese and working at it. Because it does take work. It takes dedication. It takes caring about yourself and wanting to be there for those around you. And I just want to thank everybody who was supportive and listened to what they could of my journey. And I will share more. You know, I try not to talk about some things in detail because, like, I'm a lot of you, and I've seen your comments, and I love that there's so many fellow survivors out there, so many fellow witches too. But I've seen the comments about surviving bulimia, surviving abuse, and I love that there are so many kindred souls out there because you can feel lonely, you can feel so insecure with your battle wounds. But I want you to know that those wounds, those scars, the visible damage, those are your badges of survival. And don't let anybody ever take you down pointing those out. I show my flaws because I'm proud. I have lasted 47 years with some fuckery. And I'm not saying that for pity or to portray myself as a victim. No, I survived. And I think so many people don't get that. So many people in our society, they just go by what people think of them. They go by what beauty aesthetics say about them. And if you survived addiction, if you have survived abuse, if you have survived feeling alone and isolated, and you're still here kicking it, you are better than so many other people. And I know you don't need my ass to tell you that because you're still kicking it and you're still here. And there's just far too many people that want to put you down because they could never. I want people to feel inspired, to be their unapologetic, authentic self, here and everywhere, because you are all amazing. And I don't say that because I'm this fluffy, positive person. I say it because I'm a hard-ass bitch who got raised in the streets of New York City, and I don't play. I don't give out false compliments. If I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, I normally don't fuck with you. Chantal got lucky because I violated my own policy of not fucking with the heifer because of how nasty she was, and she automatically activates my fight zone. But honestly speaking, normally I wouldn't even pay her any mind. And it's getting to the point where I really don't want to either. I think a lot of us have come to the realization that she's not going to change. She doesn't want to change. She's never going to change. She thinks she's hurting us by overeating. She thinks she's hurting us by lying. She thinks she's hurting us by being in a loveless relationship that she literally had to pay for again. And this isn't about me bragging once again, comparing our lives, because I would be the one punching down at that point, Heffa. Because like I said, YouTube will always be a side gig for me because, honestly, I got a nice house that I want to keep sustained. I've got a family with my son who's about to graduate, my fur babies who I love to death. I don't have time to hope that YouTube will make me the kind of salary that can maintain this place. It ain't happening. But I do enjoy the fact that this starting to come up. That I can enjoy a writing career now, that I can enjoy life at my late 40s in a way that feels purposeful, but feels good for me as an introvert. I choose the tone of my life now. And I was hoping, when I first started to hear about you, that you would understand that that was where I was hoping to maybe guide you. But you were such a nasty person. You were such a harmful person to yourself and to everybody around you that it would be a waste of my time. There have been so many content creators that tried to help you, that have been where you are and in worse situations. You've never clocked in at over 500 pounds. You might now, but I have. I still have excess skin rolls because the surgery scares me, and I really don't want to get cut like that. So I started with arm weights. I had been cleared to do actual weights again, but I'm holding off on that because I don't want to overdo it and end up hurting myself yet. But I can't wait to go back to actual lifting weights because I think that'll do better for me than actual skin surgery. I just feel like the fact that she tries to say no one can understand what she's going through and losing weight is hard. Yes, it can be without discipline. Yes, it can be when you're expecting quick weight loss. What I tell people all the time is I've lost weight before with those weird rapid weight loss challenges and fad diets, and then I gained that shit right back. But sticking to my daily routine, even if it's 30 minutes right now, because I'm building back up, it is better for you to have a constant state of activity, to monitor what you put into you. This morning I had oatmeal and a banana. It fills me up, it keeps me good till lunch. It is a simple meal that helps with my digestive system as well. I feel like I say these things not to shame people out of eating stuff, but to show that you can turn stuff around. I really feel like there's just a weird black and white line on YouTube sometimes. That by me saying what works for me makes it seem like I'm challenging people or making fun of people. I'm not. Honestly speaking, I just want people to see that it is possible. And sometimes your diet can't even match those who show their results on here. Sometimes people can't eat bananas. Sometimes people have certain cereals or carbs or sugar. I have to use a lot more protein and greens like spinach and broccoli to keep my vitamin D and other levels up, to keep my iron from going low, because need I remind Chantel, I still have my uterus. So it is what it is. I feel like there are way too many people that can't see somebody doing their thing and not feel a certain way. And I know I can't control that, but I want to tell you that if you bother watching my content, whether it's Fitbangs like this or my commentary, if I'm not calling you out directly, I'm not calling you out. It really is that simple. I am not wired to think about people on that level. If you are not trying to be in my face, I honestly try not to think about you. The only time I will bring something or someone up is when I felt hurt by them. And there's only been a few people on these YouTube streets that ever made me feel hurt, disgusted, or betrayed enough. And I don't even bring their names up because it's honestly not worth it. Once I close a door on a relationship or a potential relationship, that's it. That's all I need to know about a person, and I keep it moving. I think people aren't used to that because there is a lot of back and forth fighting, some of it entertaining, amusing, some of it really worrying on this site. And they're not used to somebody like me that's like, I don't fuck with them, so it is what it is. I'm not going to badmouth somebody like that unless I want to be able to say it to their face normally. Only one exception is the person that I'm going to pay the dust that they deserve. I feel like life is too short to gain enemies unnecessarily. I've made enough enemies in my life through my own actions. I've made enough enemies in my life simply for existing. I'm not going to go out of my way to make enemies out of people that I don't even know, I'm never going to meet. And honestly, if I can be frank, as a sociopath, I don't give a fuck about. I like being blunt and honest. And I like being genuine. If I give you a pleasantry or chat with you, that's because I'm really interested in talking to you. My brain, even online, can sort out people that I will potentially want to talk with, that I will potentially want to continue on talking with beyond YouTube, and people that I'm okay with on there, but you'll never go farther than that. And I've been blessed to be a part of so many nice communities within Girl World that just allow me to comment, watch. I won freaking giveaways from them, so that's why I'm so excited to do my own giveaways with some of the merch that I have, the books. Because I'm a book nerd. Even before I started writing, I love to read. One of the things that Chantal likes to bring up is food memories. But one of my best memories was summers in New York when I was really young. And going up to the library, which was a couple of blocks from our house. I remember walking up that hill, getting to that freaking library, which was across the street from the Catholic church. And just sitting amongst books, looking for any book that I could pour myself into for a couple of hours. And so the library was like, hey, you gotta get home, the street lights will be on. I always loved to escape in reading. And I still love to escape in reading. And I've been influenced for over 4 decades with amazing pop culture, music. One of the things that inspired me to start working on the next book, aside from losing 3 dear friends and the son of a really dear friend these last couple of years with the pandemic, was listening to Aniko. She has this song, Jericho, that I was playing on loop because it perfectly describes the character, the main character of the first book and her developing powers from evolution. And the more I listened to it, the more I could see certain scenes. Another song that influenced the second novel and scenes that I started writing was Aretha Franklin's I'll Say a Little Prayer for You. And I have a lot on the playlist. Rob Zombie's More Human Than Human. That song Run. There are so many scenes that I see in my mind when I listen to music and I write. And it just feels good to get a chapter out and a scene out. And I got the main start of the novel out last month. And I was shy. I did not even want to show my husband. And then I gave it to him. And the way he reacted while reading it, just I could see he was so intent. He was like, this pulled me in. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. That's the effect that I want with my stories. And I know that this first novel that I put out is a little bit more rough. There are a little bit more edgy mistakes. We got a edited copy that we're going to release with the audiobook. But for now, I want people to see how it looked when I first wrote it. I'm not ashamed of any mistakes I made because I damn near got my story out. Didn't get my story out. Because A, I was afraid that it was going to be taken as stupid. B, I had so much insecurities about whether I could do it. But I tell you this, as a now published writer to everybody else, we are in the digital age. You don't have to go to big publishing companies anymore. You don't have to worry if you're good enough. If you have a story that you can read back to yourself, if you have characters or a voice that you want to share via writing, do it. It is the perfect time to get your voice out there, to get your content out there, to get your IPs written out and share it with the world. And you can do it independently so that you can own your stuff like I do. I feel like now is the time, more than ever, to make your claim in the creative space. And I tell so many people who ask me, well, Tan, how did you do it? First of all, I started with the base 2 characters. I didn't even freaking know what I was going to do with them at first. We kept going over what were their motivations. Then we started developing the world around them. I took a lot of real life people I knew, their personas, and put them in the book. I made notes. Notes is your best way to go when writing an actual story because you don't want to excuse me. You don't want to lose track or focus when you're creating character worlds. It is so vital and key, especially when you have a big series-like story, to have those notes. Sit down, write out a process, write out a plot point you might want to try to squeeze into the story, or even if it's your autobiography, write little notes on where you want to start, where you want to really amplify, and where you want to end. Note-taking is so vital to me for my writing process because, as I've told people, I don't shy away from it. I have schizoaffective disorder, which means there's some manic days that I'm up, I'm ready to go, and some where I'm low. I'm also schizophrenic, so it's awful loud sometimes in here. And if I don't take notes so I can focus on the plot points and the characters I want to highlight, it can get messy. But I've worked very hard to keep my story to the point, character driven without having too much rambling. I know to some contemporaries it'll be, well, she didn't really describe the environment too much. I don't want to spend 50 chapters describing what something looks like. I think I keep stuff short, sweet, and to the point because I want people to see the action scenes. I want people to feel the fear and dread of who's who. I want people to cry when stuff happens to characters and cheer when other stuff happens. And I am so glad that I took this leap, and I am so glad that I'm still going. I feel like imposter syndrome will always be in the back of my head as a writer, but I'm not going to let it stop me. Just like I'm not going to let weight stop me from getting to my goals. It's all about what you desire and what you're willing to put in to get what you want in this world. And that is why I am so just honored that so many of you decided to sub to me. I hope that my content will continue to provide you entertainment and insight. And I'm just really, really proud that I could do this. I'm proud that I can give my commentary and talk about things and have it be well received. And I just want to thank all of you for watching this, because you keep me going for real. Now let me see where I'm at. Whew. A lot of miles done. A lot of calories burned. I want to see if I'm at 30 minutes though. That's the most important number. Yep. Whew. Y'all, when I say I am so happy to be back to doing these Fitbangs. I'm so happy to be back to sharing my, I'm not even going to call it a journey. It is my routine with all of y'all. And I hope that if you're at a fitness level right now where you can only devote a couple of minutes a day to exercise, that you know nobody should look down on you for that because you're trying. And even if you end up a sweaty mess like me, even if it's a rainy day where you've got a lot of sorting and stuff to do, even if you feel like a whole ass mess, know that I got your back. I'll be back soon, y'all. Thank you all for watching.